It's a fresh day. I hope you're up, shaking, and baking. I always say that all the guests on the Paul Fo podcast are fascinating people. This is episode 183, and today I have Mr. Fedi Adimife. Is it Adimife or Adimife?
You got the second one. I did it.
Great. He's a founder. He's a culture shaper. He's an author. He's a poet. And he leads a Christian movement called The Tribe. Of which I'm a member of, I used to be a physical member of it, but now I'm a virtual member. Welcome to the pod, man of God. How you doing, man? How you doing? Oh my goodness, the network. Okay. Hi everybody, on the next episode of the Paul Fo podcast, I will be interviewing Fedi Adimife. He's the founder of Magic Carpet Studio in Lake. Pastor Fedi. Hello.
Okay, I'm here, but I think I lost you for a moment.
I think it was your network. Your network froze.
Yes, brother. No call our people for public, but MTN has been crazy since yesterday.
Wow.
It's been crazy.
But is he okay now?
It's much better now.
Okay, great. So I will just cut that other part off, and then we'll start. Let me just start all over again. In fact, no, let's just continue. I will edit the other part out.
The intro.
Yes. I'll edit that part out. So how you doing, man?
Awesome. I'm glad to be here. I told somebody recently that you're one of the few people that I've known the longest in Lagos.
Really?
And I told them that I knew you before I even entered University of Port Harcourt. When with Victor Koro.
Yes.
When he started out, and it was my publisher too, so it was an interesting journey. But I'm glad that we've come this far.
Yes.
The evolution of consistently trying to, as the times are changing. Last time I was in the US, I was talking to you in the UK. I was like, see, we've come from Port Harcourt to Lagos to the world.
Yes. It's very, very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. So, guys, we've got Mr. Fedi Adimife in the building today on episode 183 of Paul Fo podcast. Fedi is an interesting gentleman. He's a founder, Magic Carpet Studio. It's creative. He's an author. He's a poet. He's a culture shaper. And he's a pastor of a great fellowship called the Tribe, which I'm a part of. I used to be a part of it physically. I'm still a part of it virtually. And for those of you listening to this on Sunday, I will be speaking at the Tribe on the 26th of March 2025, 10 a.m. fellowship. So you want to join us on that. I've known Freddie for a long time. So this conversation is a great conversation. Freddie, how you doing, man?
Awesome. And I'm glad that I remember when you mentioned this, that you're going to start a podcast.
Yes.
Powerful. You're now 180 something. That's a lot of consistency.
Yes.
And thanks for making yourself like that is always sharing knowledge, contributing and shaping people's mindsets. We take it for granted, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
It's a really great calling.
Yeah, it is. Thank you so much. So, Fedi, we starting off a new year. What is your definition of creativity and innovation? Because there's this mindset that, if you're not in the arts, then creativity doesn't concern you. I don't think so. What is creativity? I mean, you own a studio. What is creativity? What is innovation?
The way I describe creativity is the yearning of the human soul to reach its fullness. So creativity is an intrinsic quality of every human being. So long as we are all made in the image of a creator, we fundamentally carry the creative capabilities within us. And we have to expand our understanding and expand our definition of creativity. Everyone with a soul has a creative potential. The challenge again is the curriculum that introduces us to the creative side. Most of us were unfortunately educated out of the creative capabilities. We were not encouraged to explore because creativity grows through curiosity, it grows through experimentation, and it grows through discovery. So if you're not in an environment that encourages you to take a risk, and when you fail, they applaud you and say you've learned your lesson, keep going. You start to disconnect from your creative side. So what we have in cultures that stigmatize failure and stigmatize mistakes is that people start to decline and then start to condition themselves to conform but never create. But creativity is something that is given to everyone. And the question is not whether we can create, but how can we reclaim our creativity? How can we express that and use it in an economic sense? Use it even in the way we live, in how we do recreation, not just in entertainment and media, but creativity is even in parenting, right? Even in love making and in marriage, creativity should transcend. Once we are seeking to reinvent, reimagine, and renew an experience, creativity comes as an ally to help us to reclaim, renew every experience. So when you get to a point in a company where you feel your revenues have been stuck for a particular period of time, it's actually demanding of you to step into creativity and innovation. And you're asking yourself, am I going to explore new product lines? Am I going to am I going to be able to optimize a particular arm of the business that is making money? How do I reduce my revenue and how do I increase my profit? So you start thinking of new ways to. Is there a new market? Is there a new introduction? Is there a kind of partnership? Is there a kind of collaboration I can explore? But when we start to ask the question, how do I fully become more? How do I bring more? How do I increase that which I currently have? Creativity becomes an important piece of that process.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. In your own opinion, right? What do you think are some of the constraint or bottlenecks to creativity? So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I think it's judgment. People just judge themselves. I'm not creative, or I'm too old. What do you think are some of the bottlenecks of
So
stopping
I
from?
think that I think the major bottleneck in the creativity is the voice in our heads.
Hmm.
That internal dialogue, when you've been told, oh, your brother is a creative one because he can sing, or your sister is creative because she can dance, you're not. Right? So people now start to feel like they're not creative. And so that voice in your head that is always creating doubt, when you're doubtful of yourself, the capacity to create will even become more limiting. Right? When you are unsure of yourself, or when you are even living from maybe not so much from an authentic version of yourself, you will realize that your ability to create is also limited, right? And we also have some myths that we've actually created on creativity. One of the myths that is also apart from the voice in my head, the other myth is when we say things like creativity, I'm not is a mood, and some people tell you I'm not in creative mood, and sometimes it takes them 1 year, 2 years, they can't write a book because they say I'm not in the mood. I'm waiting for the news. No, no, no. You stimulate the creativity. You stimulate the muse. You don't wait for the mood. You mood it, right? You get into the state and space of writing, and to start to flow from there. Creativity increases when you use it. So once you start writing and you keep at it, the creative juice will flow. So we have to debunk that myth that creativity is a short supply, that creativity is a mood, that creativity is a season, or creativity is a sector, that creativity is for a chosen few. We have to debunk all of these myths because it's not going to help us to express ourselves in the ways that we can. So it's important that if you're a story writer, sometimes people tell themselves, oh, I write stories for just children. And because somehow that's how they define themselves. But when you go into yourself and ask yourself and trust and say, okay, this I have a brief. They are calling me to do a story for maybe a much older audience. And you ask yourself, how can I go about this? You realize that creativity can reinvent itself, right? We have a concept of scarcity that also impacts on our ability to create. It should be the other way around. That scarcity should inspire creativity. But there's a way you can approach life with
Oh
scarcity.
yeah.
You should even use the ability to create. So you always have to be able to tell yourself that how can I, when you say, okay, I'm not that multi-talented, I'm just a writer, but writing for children's stories, you've actually locked up yourself from other potential revenue. So, someone that has specialization, will say there's a need to specialize. Yes, there's a need to specialize. But at the end of the day, you also have to understand that specialization will never be a limitation. It's only a strategy so long as it is working. The moment you realize that you're not making as much money as a children writer, you have to start thinking yourself, how do I write across other mediums? Do I write audio
Very good.
story? Do I write cinema? Do I write comic? Or how do I now take my skill as a writer and maybe retool myself in such a way that I can also be a part of a writing team that is writing for different audience types, right? So you really have to. But once you limit yourself that I am not one way, there are many ways I can imagine myself to be. Creativity becomes available.
Oh, great. This is so good. There is a Japanese proverb that says that when there is no wind, row.
Yes,
I'm
very,
leading
very
up.
true.
I'm leading up to my next question. There is a particular writer that says that I wake up in the morning and I write from 6 a.m. in the morning to like 9 a.m. in the morning, and I don't wait for an inspiration hits me by 6 a.m. every morning, whether I feel like it or not.
Mm, true.
So the question is, what specific ways have you used or have you read about to spark people's putting them in the mood? For some people, they take long walks.
Mm,
For some people, they watch a
mm.
movie outside of their genre. What is a specific thing that you think people can take away from this conversation?
No, but one that has worked for me is journaling.
Very good.
I am so either I'm always with. I have almost 40 jotters at any point in time. I'm in writing mode. So to cultivate a relationship with your creative side is more important than to create when you want to create.
I like
So we
that.
must see creativity and relationship. So it's not, oh, I want to write now, therefore let creativity come to me. But when you live a creative life and cultivate a relationship with your creative side, you realize that you will not need creativity when you want to write to show up because you're already there, right? Like the man is saying 6 o'clock is coming. So it's first the relationship, and once it becomes a relationship, it comes to flow, right? And it's not, it's an unending supply that the oil that never runs out, right? So it keeps flowing to itself, right? So journaling is very important. I also would recommend meditation. And I really think that most of the times our culture does not support solitude and silence. But I really do think that silence is actually the language of creativity. Now, in fact, creativity and silence are in a dance, that there are parts of creativity that you have to pull away from yourself, be still and know, and the answers will supply themselves. So if you're not somebody that is contemplative or practice meditation and reflection, you find that your creativity will always be things that will come today and not be there tomorrow. So meditation and contemplation helps. Traveling is also a great way to revive or stimulate your creativity. New places to see, new people to meet, conversations. And when we make ourselves present, creativity increases. So I keep telling people the greatest gift of the moment is to be with it. So when we are present, we will discover many ways in which everything around us has become. And you realize as I'm sitting on this table, if I'm meant to write a scene for a movie, I have a lot of things that I can pick from. So we've been conditioned to be absent even in the moment. Most of us are very addicted to the next instead of living in the now. So we are not, when you are here, rather than here, I'm thinking about the boys that need to go to play to the park. Maybe I'm thinking about Lily that she needs to get to the market. Or I'm thinking about a wedding I have to attend. So many things will crowd you out of being here. And when it crowds you out of being here, you realize that the present is a powerful source of creativity. And you're losing out on that because you're absent in the present moment. So
Very good.
when you meditate, when you travel, when you take opportunities as they present themselves to meet people in different sectors, when you're a curious leader, curiosity is so powerful that I think that we have certain podcasts I listen to. Some of them are just things to just make myself aware of what the world is doing. I have I used to do a lot of time and I just read them because I wanted to get a sense of it. In fact, I think it's just which shape them. So I would say a creative person was first of all have a particular creativity, whether it's a magazine or it's a podcast. But by all means, creativity is something you fertilize. It's also something you water. Think of it as a garden. When you water the garden, it gives you the best. And the way you water the garden of creativity is to allow new thought processes, new people, no matter how diverse. And when we get rid of our biases and you realize that I can actually be with somebody that I don't necessarily connect with on an ideological level, but I seek to understand them, but
Yeah.
able to create and expand. Because every time we show up without our prejudice and our bias, we allow ourselves to discover the world in ways that we don't even know the world is.
Powerful.
So, most of us undermine conversation. Conversations are powerful sources of creativity.
Yeah.
You'll be so surprised how every time a writer comes to their creative characters, oftentimes they are putting out a character that is called admired, interacted, and seen over time. So they are all sources one to another. But as we show up, when we are not present to ourselves, we miss out on the moment, we miss out on the opportunity to learn and to stimulate ourselves in ways that we can co-create and even create one moments ago.
Very good. Very, very good. Fedi, I I know that creativity comes sometimes it comes like a surge. And when you ask a lot of creative people, because all entrepreneurs are creative people,
Mm.
how do you people talk about there's this thing about a second brain now where they talk about saving your idea. I use Notion to save my ideas. I use VoicePal. It's an AI tool to save my ideas. How do you advise people? Because when you get these ideas, how do you trap these ideas? How do you talk to people in your company to
Mm.
save the ideas? Because if you can't recall the idea that came to when the idea comes, you have to freeze it. How do you freeze that idea so that you can utilize it in the future? You're reading a book, you got an idea, you listen to a podcast. In what way do you save that idea? Because the brain, I don't think the brain is designed to keep the idea, it's to receive it. So what's your take on a second brain storing
Okay.
the idea?
No, I think it's an amazing way to go about ideas, because sometimes ideas are like tapestry. So what that is that ideas come sometimes they come in fragments. You realize this one is coming, you only have a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Then another piece will come another week, and you're like, oh, what's this? Another time you realize that there is sort of like a convergence. So there are different ways creativity can come to us. There is always the Big Bang creativity. The Big Bang creativity is that an idea just pops up, right? And oftentimes people think that Big Bang is an instant. But oftentimes there are studies that actually allude to the fact that that Big Bang is an accumulation of fragments of thinking that gives that finally that one thing is a critical mass. That last one idea becomes a critical mass that breaks it open for you and realize, whoa, I see where that is. So the idea is to really, really journey with an idea. Because ideas are promiscuous. I mean, they're not necessarily they're
I
not
like that
exclusive
line.
and they're not exclusive to you. An idea can come to you. So, but the point is, how do you steward it? In your way of stewarding that idea, you honor it enough to let the next piece come and the next piece come.
Oh,
Right?
beautiful.
Almost like the entire universe is in a conspiracy to support people who are very intentional and bring attention to an idea. That once you put an attention behind an idea, energy flows, right? And you become a vibrational match to become that person that can manifest or create that idea. So it is both a powerful concept that allows for people, but if you want to nurture the idea, even in a company, we created an idea log. And that idea log, I'll tell people if you have some ideas, just file them in. And we created something called Meraki. Meraki is our story Fridays. I gather the people and we go through the idea logs. We just take a story and let us see where the story takes us. And sometimes an IP is built from there. An IP is an intellectual property. And so we start to flesh out the story. At the end of the year, we have 10 IPs that we have characters created, we have synopsis and treatment fleshed out. We register it and trademark it, and it's available to either we raise money for it or we sell it. So ideas are wealth. In fact, a creative person undermines the capacity of wealth that they can create. So once you understand that, it's interestingly, the Bible speaks of something that says God gives us the power to get wealth, but
Yes.
it comes from creativity, right? If you teach a child how to think and not just what to think, you've equipped him to survive. But
Yeah.
if you teach a child to create and not just to consume what is created, you've equipped him with the tools to win at life and to thrive and to
Beautiful.
build wealth. Yeah, so
Beautiful.
most of us should not just raise our children, we should also raise their creativity. We should also raise their consciousness. So I think it becomes a task of parenting in shaping what our children will be like and how they relate to their creative side.
This is so beautiful. Okay, as an entrepreneur, in what way has creativity and the internet helped your business, Magic Studio? In fact, tell us a little bit about what Magic Studio does. So when we listen to this and want to do business with you, some of your products out there that people can check
Mm,
out.
mm. So Magic Carpet is an innovation storytelling company. And the name Innovation Storytelling Company was a name that came to me after I defined ourselves as an animation studio for maybe 4 years. 4 years I'll call the studio an animation studio doing 2D, 3D. But one day I realized animation is just a tool because VR will come, right? Maybe augmented reality will come. AI will show. So if I'm a storytelling company, how do I position myself to evolve with every changing time? So allow every technology to push me up and higher in the future and not be stunted by the opportunities, right? So I redefine the company into an innovation storytelling company, but we make stories. We create games. I'm currently producing just sort of like our series. I'm currently producing a feature film that is coming out by December and
Beautiful.
another series that is going to come out in 2026. So my hands are filled up. But that's what Magic Carpet Studio is. I also have a brand innovation company that works with clients in creating compelling arts and creating new ways for which they can be able to create products, design products, and position themselves as much as possible. How has the internet helped with my opportunities? A lot. I mean, I've been able to make money using platforms, right? So I've been able to get clients. Literally, all my clients are not based in Nigeria. And there was no way they could have found me if we didn't have the right tools to be found,
Yeah.
right? So at the end of the day, I don't even complain a lot about what goes on here because at the end of the day, even if they close doors and nobody's going out, I will be home happily ever after, right? Because you have to understand that the internet is not just a world of possibilities. And you have to be able to position yourself with intention. Because a lot of the people that the black community and the continent have a trust struggle. So for them to trust business, you have to show yourself, you have to show your track record. So when I go on LinkedIn, sometimes I write about what we're doing. I'm not writing because I'm bored. I'm writing because somewhere along the line, some people are reading about the journey. And I can tell you, most of the investors and partners will tell me they follow these things. Right? They'll tell me, oh, Freddie, I'm checking it, I'm seeing what you guys are doing. So we must not see every company is a digital company. Every company is a content company. So it's not like, oh, there's a content company and I'm here. No, you have to be a content company. You have to think like a content creator because the truth is that marketing is no longer a transaction, it's a relationship.
Yeah.
And you really have to start the journey before you sell. The person you sell before they buy, but they buy before you sell. So they buy into your ethos, they buy into your pathos, they buy into your thinking, into your ideology, they buy into your why, and eventually they now buy the product. But the product is only the last layer of reality. They've already bonded and connected with you. So I really think it's not just about designing a marketing campaign, it's about becoming a relational brand that allows for people to be attracted to you and to be with you long enough for you to sell and keep selling to them.
This is beautiful. This is beautiful. I know that your office is in Lekki in Lagos, Nigeria, but you operate around the world. We
Yeah.
have challenges as a country. We have power
Mm,
challenges, we have policy challenges, but people
mm,
are thriving. When I saw the numbers of Dirty December that companies made, I was holding my head like this. I mean, I've got clients that did 50 billion last year. I know of a small client called me and say, Coach, I did 5 billion in my business last year. I'm like, yo, how do you innovate yourself out of challenges?
mm. I think the first thing first is not to let yourself to be conditioned by the environment.
Come on
It's
now.
how you first of all define what challenges are. For instance, just think about it. The Lebanese guys will come to Lagos. And the people born in Lagos will be shouting, traffic is too much. I want to leave this country. The Lebanese is saying these are critical, these are buying power. They know what they. So the same challenge is different interpretation.
Yeah.
Once you start to see the challenges as an opportunity to create and innovate, you are approaching it the way it's meant to be. For people who understand that there is power challenge, you know that there is why people need solar. And then they understand that oh, people don't have bulk money to do solar. Then you need to structure a payment plan. Maybe I have to set up like a model in such a way that people can actually pay financially, right? And when you get to that period of time, you're like, okay, there's a challenge, there's not enough data. Okay, we can do we can go into B2B, focus on companies so that we eliminate any challenges. Like at every point in time, follow the solution. Let there be a trail, right? Don't be turned off by anything. So we need to reimagine and redefine challenges. I really think the way we were most raised, it was like challenges is the cause from the devil. Oh, but really, it's really what it is. Thomas Edison tried 99 times before he could get the
Yeah.
electric
Yeah.
shock. And I think today the world is better for it because he didn't give up. Many of us
Man.
give up too soon because somewhere along the line, we do not understand that every failure is a discovery. In fact, every failure is also a recipe. You understand? In itself, it becomes part of a bigger picture. So, to survive in an environment, you really, really have to understand that it's what is happening inside of you that is more important than what is happening outside of you. There is something I call the law of correspondence, and that's this law talks about as we think, so it out.
Mm.
All right. You can have people live in an environment in Nigeria here, bro. I can tell you, I have friends who are making crazy money. You know, recently they've been talking about food scarcity, and people are getting terrified. Oh, the world there's a global food shortage, and people are turning to agriculture. I'm recently part of a team that is having to set up a farm or work to set up a farm that will focus on cassava and maize. Because at the end of the day, I looked at it, but it made sense. But guess what? We're talking about oh, before the end of the year, there'll be drastic cassava shortage or food shortage. We have 70% of arable land uncultivated. Why? You understand? I asked them one day in church, I said, okay, if there is a transfer window where there's maybe they just press and say, okay, people of the world, choose what country you want to go to now. I can bet you 95% of the black people will leave this country. And this place will be filled with Lebanese and Chinese people. And it's like the place will become white all of a sudden. And you realize
Oh my
that
goodness.
we have so many resources here. The continent is one of the richest part of the world, but the people are lost on that. So it's a mindset problem. So they want to go somewhere else and thrive. Meanwhile, this place can work. I understand that there are challenges our government and the leadership is there, but some people are thriving in spite of it. So if others can thrive in spite of all that is wrong, you also can. And that's what I'll tell every entrepreneur. Don't let the environment condition you. Let your environment condition you, right? Always understand that if you can see it in here, you can have it here. So life
Mm.
spiritual is it's not just about the physical. As you think, so you are. So we
Mm.
on the if we dial back and start to work on our mindset, you realize that we have more. We've been fishing since, and fishes have not finished in the water.
Yeah.
Because there is abundance in nature.
Yeah.
Every morning the sun is up and it's shining, right? And the sun has not run. And tell to say, guys, I won't be around tomorrow. I'm so
Exactly.
guys, yeah, everybody's gonna find a candle. The moon is not telling you that I won't be here. Like, how come nature has abundance, but humans have
Oh
economic constraints?
goodness.
Because that
Yeah.
economic capacity has been something that has been invented, sort of structured in such a way that it's about the survival of the fittest. People are having to follow an industrial model of survival, 9 to 5, 5 to 9, study something to get a job, certification, and that worked for the world we're coming from. But the world that we're going to, those models are going to be very challenging for you. Because at the end of the day, I have people in my office who work with me who may have 2, 3 jobs. I don't mind because that which they are doing for me, they are doing it well. But back in the day, our fathers will not agree while you work for them and try to have another job.
Mm.
You understand? So we have to condition that. We have to understand that the human resource is not just it's infinite. There's a possibility that people can actually bring more to the table. Let's reshape our thinking around that. But it's really, really powerful time to be alive.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. In your own opinion, as we start this 2025,
Mm.
what are some of the critical skills, specific skills that you think if people get these skills and sell it, it will increase their prosperity, their influence, and their impact. I know writing is one, digital writing, not just write, how to write on the internet, how to sell, how to distribute, So
I
what are
think
those
I think
skills for you?
one of the one that comes to mind is prompt engineering. I do think that in the world of AI is not going to, it's not going to be AI in the real world. We're going to have the real world in an AI, right? At the time digital came in, it was digital in the real world. Now it is the real world in the digital realm. And AI is going to redefine the entire modus of operandi in such a way that literally, for you to be a good writer, it's about how you prompt. For you to be a business developer, it's about how you prompt. For you to be a product designer, it's about how you prompt. Because there is this intelligence that AI is doing for us, where the accumulation of data and the processing speed of data has actually crunched time and speed. We're in a quantum era where right now the capacity at which anybody can operate is exponential when you learn how to use the prompt engineering.
Yeah.
I remember the NVIDIA CEO saying, kids should not learn how to code. They should put themselves to use in other things because as coding was something that everybody said, learn code, learn cybersecurity. But in the future that we're going into, AI is automated to take away from those mundane jobs. What AI can never replace is creativity. So the creativity will become even more important because creativity works on prompts. How you prompt is how you create. AI is not replacing you. AI is working for you. In fact,
Oh,
AI uses your intelligence. The way you prompt the AI is what the AI will do. So if you have limited vocabulary, you will have limited prompt concepts. If the concept of your words are only very mundane, your ability to use AI becomes limited. So people have to invest in expanding their vocabularies because your prompt is in a relationship,
I
right?
like that.
And so you have to be able to pull words from that. So that's part of why I always feel prompt is something I will put on top of the table. As we live in disruptive times, it's important for people to be able to see that their thought is also disruptive, right? If you don't disrupt, you become disrupted. You have to self-destruct. So at the end of the day, even I run a studio, but I'm trying to create an AI product that would help us to crunch time and space and meet more supply. But it's because I've looked at it and realized, okay, I think I can bring value in this direction. Right. So we
Yeah.
have, yeah, we all have things so I think the prompting is there. You spoke about people who are able to write and sell. Selling, writing, everything comes down to your ability
To
to prompt
prompts,
and
yeah.
prompt.
I like that.
Yeah.
I
So
like that.
yeah, so there are no limitations now. There are only you're waiting on you to give yourself the permission to create. There are no limitations. It's only the
Yeah.
limitations of the mind, not
It's
limitations of
powerful.
tools.
Powerful.
There are AI tools
Powerful.
for everything. Even
Yeah.
right now,
Yeah.
you can even buy AI staff and run a company with a burn rate of $10 a month because an AI staff
Wow.
is $1 or thereabout. So you can run a staff of a staff capacity of $10 a month. So
This is crazy.
there are no excuses, right?
Wow. Wow.
There are
Somebody
only
wants.
beliefs that
Wow.
boost belief. Mm,
Great, 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 great. Somebody once said that the limits of my language is the limits of my world.
that's what it
The
is.
limits
The
of
AI,
my words.
the, the AI will
Yeah,
actually
so
make that even more
yeah.
apparent.
Yeah. So I really, so I really like that. I really like that. So prompt engineering, guys, check out prompt engineering. And if you've not subscribed to this to the episode, please click on the subscribe button if you are listening to this on Spotify. Click on the subscribe button if you are watching this on YouTube. Click on the follow the plus button if you are listening to this on Apple Podcasts. I'm gonna put Fedi's links in the show notes where you can check him out on LinkedIn. It's very vibrant on LinkedIn. I'm also going to put the link to his website on LinkedIn as well. And if you are a Christ follower, if you also want to be a Christ follower as well, you want to check out the Tribe Church in Lagos. That's a great community of love and union with the Lord. All right. So Ferdy, you've said prompt and engineering. What else have you got up your sleeve? Two more. So with that specific, so people can go and learn. So if I'm you listening to this right now, you want to go to YouTube and watch like 10 videos on how to do prompt engineering. That's how you increase that skill. So what else? Two more.
So what I'm actually seeing that is going to also be in demand is also going to be tools to create content creators. It's everything is becoming a piece of content, and even this podcast is a content, right?
Yeah, it
How you
is.
sell, what you sell. So your ability to create content is also going to be there, and if you can learn about the tools, that would also be very, very important. On more technical areas, I do think that we still see that within the tech ecosystem, right? It's really around things that can help you with, at the moment, things like machine learning. It's something that there are demand for more programmers that can be able to create the future where we don't need programmers, right? So it's a bit crazy that we're programming the future for non-programming, right? Yeah, but I do think that at the end of the day, when you have the skill, um, the other aspect I would say is that you know how to use the tools better than those who don't even have the skill,
Yeah.
right? But there is also one more thing I would always prime. It is the gift of creative thinking and critical thinking. I think we oftentimes talk about skills, but I would say if you can master the skill of creativity and critical thinking, you would realize that you know what to do when you need to when you need to do them, so that you're not even leveraging on, okay, what's going to come out now. You are going to be getting people to create what needs to be created, because those with critical and creative thinking always controls the why. Those sometimes learning the tools is not bad, but learning the skill is not bad. Is knowing the why, right? That I would say to that. So sometimes I try not to be very prescriptive of giving them
I
learn
like
about cybersecurity,
that.
all of
I
those
like
things,
that.
because
I like that.
5 years ago we're telling people learn those things, and they're waking up to realize that the world is changing real fast. While they're learning the ropes, the world is changing the rules. Right? So it's fundamentally about you also trying as much as possible to stay in the canvas and in the spectrum of consciousness where you're able to see the world evolve and unfold moment by moment, and you're understanding, how do I use this? How that's
Yeah.
actually where you are. You're sitting down there, you're seeing all the tools, sure. And that's what it means to be a conscious citizen. Your attention is on the radar, right? Some people are late adopters. The AI has become mainstream before they start coming into it. So the ability to adopt and adapt quickly is also something I would call a skill. So it might not be technical, but I would call it a life skill. Your ability to
Okay.
think and critically is a life skill. Your ability to adapt and adopt very quickly is a life skill. Your ability to self-disrupt by cultivating ability to change is a life skill. So these are some of the things I would mention outside of the other things everybody else is saying that
Yeah.
people might have full grasp of.
Great. Great. Fantastic. Fantastic. Before we wrap this up, I always like to ask people about their favorite books, their favorite I love to read a lot. I read 33 books last year. I mean, I don't know why people don't read as much, but hey, I don't know. It's up to everybody. But what are your favorite books, or what is the one book, or even if it's a chapter of the book or a podcast that you listened to last year and you're like, my God.
So interestingly, I think one book that I have, two books that shaped me as a person was The Alchemist.
Wow, Paulo
And
Coelho.
yeah, The Alchemist. And Richard Wright's The Black Boy, right? The Alchemist. The Alchemist was a powerful book for me because I wrote it at a time when I was falling into self-awareness.
Do you know when I bought my coffee? 2009. I bought it in South Africa. Yeah, good
So
book. Good.
it's an amazing book that I would say every dreamer, every thinker, every creator needs to. It's a story of the soul, really,
Yeah, yeah.
and our eternal quest to discover self in the midst of all that happens around us. So it's always there for me. It's a book that, if I had my way, I want to reread every now and again.
So what's the second book?
The second book, so I think that I like, for most of the biographies I have read, It's hard to pick a second because I enjoyed a lot of biographies. I enjoyed
Yeah.
Steve Jobs' biography. I
Yeah.
enjoyed Long Walk to Freedom, Nelson Mandela. I enjoyed Bill Gates, My Life, right? And I enjoyed. So I did most of these books. I picked principles, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Bill Gates. One of the things I remember him talking about, Bill Clinton, honestly, was that he would write a letter to his classmates long after they graduated. He managed to stay in touch. This was long before there was email,
Hmm.
and he was someone that valued relationships, right? I mean, for me, I have a very, very distinct relationship with the Bible because I understand this is a secular podcast. I
Yes.
didn't want to mention the Bible because
No,
I
no, no.
feel on
You
one
have to
level.
mention the Bible. You have to mention the Bible.
So I feel on one level that people have their options of their faith, but for me, one of the gifts of the Bible is that I understand how to read it because the Bible is not a literal book; it's a metaphysical book. It's a spiritual book, right? So the
Hmm.
Bible is not just about this. Is not a book as people think. Is a library of 66 books written over 1,000 years, right?
Hmm.
So, and the Bible is actually the story about the evolution of the human soul, right? It's so powerful to discover how the Bible is about relationship between God and man, all through, whether it was between God and Israel, or between Christ and the church, or between us and the Holy Spirit today, doing life. It is that God has always wanted to banish the distance, to be exclusive to us as we are exclusive to Him, and to live from
Powerful.
that level of unconditional love, that awareness of our inclusion in His divinity, and enjoying every bit of who He is and what He has, that we are all in a very deep and abiding love relationship with eternal being. So
This is
the Bible for me
powerful.
is every time I turn to the Bible, I have a sermon. I have things to say. Like
Oh,
I have a book to write. Like it
lovely.
doesn't stop flowing. It's
Lovely.
always flowing.
It's an eternal flow. And I know that one of the versions of the Bible that you introduced me to is the TPT version. It's my favorite. In fact, let me read something that I read to my to my son today. He has a match today. So let me just read that scripture to you. I thought it was powerful. He said,
Mm,
this is the Philippians chapter 4 from verse 6, just verse 6. It says,
mm,
don't be pulled in different directions or worried
mm,
about a thing. Be
mm,
saturated in prayer throughout each day, offering
mm,
your faith filled requests before God with
mm.
overflowing gratitude.
Yes.
Tell
Mm,
Him every detail of your
mm.
life. Beautiful,
Powerful.
right? So
But
beautiful.
that gratitude,
So
gratitude is such a
beautiful.
powerful force.
It's such a powerful. Let me show you my gratitude journals. Let me for the audience. Let them see this. These are the journals that I used last year. My past journals.
Mm. Wow.
These are my past
Mm,
journals. So when you were talking about journaling, I'm like, yeah,
mm.
this guy gets it. I write down 10 things I'm grateful to God about every morning. I've done it for 13 years over a cup of coffee.
That's powerful. That's powerful.
Thank you so much, Pastor Freddy,
That's
for coming
powerful.
on this episode. I'm so grateful that you came.
Thanks for having me. I
I was
want to say
I was asking telling my wife that what gift should I buy for Pastor Freddy. I said I know the gift. He said, how do you know? I said, no. I said, I'm going to buy him a pack of my favorite coffee and a book. I said, okay, yeah, got it. I said, I know the things he like, and I know I like what he likes. So hey, that's it.
You get it. That's
Thank
my
you so much.
favorite. Like, in fact, you made it for me. Just look for one corner with a soft music in the background, and I'm in my world.
Yeah. So I'll stop the recording and then we can gist a little bit. So guys,
Okay, sure.
share this episode if you loved it. Send him a DM, tell him how much it blessed you. I thought it was a great conversation, guys. So hey, talk to you soon. So Freddy, just hang on a second. Let me so you don't go here. If you check your phone, it is uploaded.